Hi, it's Ileana at Awakening Cosmic Reality Show, and I have Sandra McEllis with me today from embodimenttothesoul.com. Welcome, Sandra.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you.
Thanks
I
for
like your
coming back.
background there. Yes,
Oh,
I'm happy
yeah.
to come back.
Awesome. It's good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a little staticky here in the DC area, but we're just grounding the energy and going with the flow, and it's all good.
Excellent. So today we're going to cover the topics of past life regression, soul work, and soul exploration of soul missions, and how sometimes things are rerouted a little bit and move differently on the soul plane,
Mm-hmm.
and the soul mission and how that works. Also, talking about healing symbols and healing modalities, what you do, and some of the work that you do with the kids.
Yeah, be happy to.
Awesome.
So when we're talking about past life regression, we're talking about really just regression. Understanding that the brain has almost like two compartments in it. One is your conscious thinking, which is 5%, and the whole rest of it, 95%, is your storage bins of all kinds of things that happen from before in utero to what happens from your little baby steps all the way up to wherever you are in your life at this moment. Now, we come in with a lot of already pre-programming. So if we don't want to talk about past life stuff and your belief system isn't that, like past life can be yesterday, last week, a year ago, 10 years ago, it seems like it never even occurred. But when we have these programmings that come through our parents, through our own DNA, right? Through our ancestors, they've done studies that even 7 generations after, say, a traumatic event or an earth event can still affect generations, 7 generations and more up, i.e., would be the Great Depression, starvation, the need to want to be the hunter gatherer and have your pantries full at all the time, things like that. So we have memories from all of that within ourselves, and these storage bins get full, just like your computer and your phone. And usually with your computer or your phone, you have an option to buy more storage units or more space in the cloud, but that's not how our human bodies work. We have to sort of go through and clean out the
Yeah.
bins in which that we have. And
Well,
so yes, go ahead.
so I was going to say with a cell phone or a computer or a tablet, you have the option to clean out some things and remove some old stuff that you might no longer need and get a USB drive, jumbo one,
Yes.
where you can transfer that stuff. And so you can clean that out to not have to buy more storage.
Yeah.
So, but with us human beings, it's like, well, we do have to go in and clean it up energetically and physically to let it go. Otherwise, it's just layers and stacks up and overflows until you get sick physically or emotionally.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're not really taught to do any of that. We put everything in the closet. Our parents and the parents before them is you don't talk about these things. You don't bring them up. And if something's wrong with you, even traditional therapy wasn't okay until the last, 20, 30 years, honestly. And even then people hide it. So when we talk about going through our own storage unit, we're living in that 5%. We're living in that 10 and 2 gotta do that beta state of, okay, this is my awareness. I know what I did a couple days before, a week before. I know what I'm about to do, those kinds of things. But when we get into our alpha state or more relaxed state, that's when we're at home, maybe vegetables, laundry, and some people might not think laundry is relaxing, but some people find it that way. Ironing, coloring, um, sitting there watching idle television, maybe being on the beach, whatever it may be, it's a necessity to go into these creative frequency juices. And then, of course, we have theta, which is super duper relaxed, right? And that's when we are in a state of when we awake in the morning before we go to bed, when we're daydreaming, we're staring out the window, we're in these theta states. And the more relaxed we can get, the more information we can bring through and then retrieve to bring back out.
Yeah.
But if our storage units are all cobwebbed and filled up and there's no place to transfer them, we have no choice but to go through them and sift and sort. It's like cleaning out an attic. If you were to inherit a house, the first thing you would do is go through and clean it
Yeah.
from top to bottom.
And yeah, clean out anything that is physically there and also energetically create your sprays. I like to create different kind of sprays with cypress, with spruce, with thyme, with
Mhm.
even the stuff that grows in your backyard. You can create so much with oils and herbs. You can create mist sprays that
Mm.
clear out the negative energy, or just vinegar and water.
Yes.
50% vinegar and 50% water, and just spray it all over the place, misting.
Mhm.
I know the vinegar can smell strong, but it clears out anything bad.
Yes. Yes.
Clears out anything bad, and you can put a little other herbs or oils with it, and wow, it just energetically cleans out anything that's not supposed to be in
Mhm.
your home. And to touch up on therapy, counseling, yeah, it's becoming more mainstream and acceptable. But the thing is, if you're having constant alien abductions, extraterrestrial contact visits, you're talking to the higher dimensional beings, you can't really tell the therapist that, unfortunately, or the trauma in your past life. So there's now alternative places where people could go to: psychic counselors, to galactic counselors, cosmic counselors, whatever you want to call it, folks like us who deal with that stuff and who are non-judgmental when they
Mhm.
come to us, because we've had our own life-changing experiences to do with past life stuff this lifetime. We're on a bit of a different playing field than normal therapists, because they themselves might have experiences, but they can't bring that up either as examples in a client session, because again, there's a certain type of parameter of normal for
Mhm.
therapy. I'm not getting along with my husband, my kids, there's something wrong at my job. It's all 3D human reality things that
Mhm.
therapy can cover, but therapy doesn't cover the whole gamut of what's beyond 3D.
Mhm.
So that's still a little bit of a stigma, I find.
Yes. Yes, I would agree, which is why we are out of the box. We got out of the box a long time ago so that we can offer things that not only would have benefited us during our times, but also benefit those, because everything has accelerated a lot just in the last 2.5, 3 years. And
Mm-hmm.
more people are hearing more and more things, and they need assistance with that.
Yeah.
And then when we also get into all of this stuff that's in our brain, people are like, I don't understand why I keep sabotaging this. Well, let's get in there and find out. Because as little once you start in utero, you are on a 24-hour recording surveillance. It's all recorded, whether you remember it or not. And if we bring that forward into our life right now, we go back and look at videos when we were kids, you go, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Oh, I remember that. Well, that's sort of what we're doing when we're getting into past life regression. We're clearing out the debris so that someone can figure out, oh, these are my talents. These are my gifts. This is where I'm feeling this. This is why this is sabotaging me. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And when I was small, there was no video recording devices to record any video of myself, because I'm an 80s kid. I was born in
Oh.
Ukraine, where we didn't even have a television set, couldn't afford it. So there's some pictures. There's a lot of pictures because we did have black and white camera, then a color camera later on when I was in Israel. There's a lot of photos, but there's no video.
Mm-hmm.
Video only started in 2015 when I publicly came out with my experiences, and I don't include my private life of family member interactions. I never put that out
Right.
there because I respect privacy of the ones that the loved ones. I don't put that out there. That's off the menu. So there's no even, I don't even put videos out of myself that has anything personal in it ever. If I record things that are private to me, they stay in my private closet. And some things that I want to teach, share, learn so that others can learn from it as well, I put that out there, inspirational things, but I don't have any video of myself when I was a child, only photos. I think it depends on the generation and the technology that was available. Now we have our smartphones, our tablets, our laptops, our computers. We can hop on and record anything we want. This is the digital generation era, audio, video, anything can be recorded and posted. Anything can flow out there because there's a lot of social media hubs where you can post pictures and video. So you're living in a world that is being recorded constantly, day in and day out, physically recorded by all of this technology. Anybody could see anything and record it. And so this is also causing us to modulate our behavior, not to bring out the worst in ourselves when we're out and about, because anything can be recorded and posted about us. So it's like, it's making us more accountable for being better people, I think, because the technology exists to record our actions outside when we're out and about interacting with other human beings. So I think there's some accountability to being better behaved, and also accountability for not being well behaved, because people tape stuff they shouldn't tape of others without permission. So it's like, it's a two-way street, I think.
I would agree. I would agree.
Because I mean, our past lives, when we go into them, whether a past life event is in this lifetime, stuff we don't remember, or like past, deep from the past, different lifetimes, you're right. This is like a storage unit in the deep subconsciousness. There's memories, there's events, there's experiences, and you have to sift through those to figure out what they are, what they mean, how they fit into your current life, the significance and meaning, what to heal, what to fix, what to let go, what to release. It's like a mind map, a huge mind map in our own little mini Akashic records within the soul.
Yes, and the surveillance cameras are going on in your brain while you're sleeping. It's because our bodies are filters of energy. So, you may be asleep and not realize your parents had a big fight in the other room. And then certain things might trigger that within your physical body. When you get older, you didn't realize it came from that particular memory. Not every memory has to be, oh my gosh, that was horrible. It could be just a memory of understanding what occurred a little bit better, which then now you can put it to rest and move on. And the more that you do this, the more then you have information, places to bring in new information, and it gets you closer and closer to your heart center.
Exactly. And I just recently learned about myself a lot because I recorded a memory retrieval course with about 11, 16 videos and 2 techniques, past life regression and hypnosis. So I learned when you're doing memory retrieval, when you're going into your past lives, other experiences, events, memories, you have to be patient, loving, and kind to yourself when you're going through this. Because I designed the course and then I went through it and tested it out on myself. And I got a lot of stuff. I got stuff from Atlantis that was not so pretty or pleasant. It was not easy to, I had an inkling what it was. I'm not going to talk about that because that's a story in and of itself. But I'm like, wow, if I can pull this out with just a memory retrieval course without even deep hypnosis. It wasn't deep hypnosis. It's just a course teaching about memory retrieval, beginners and advanced, with hypnosis techniques and past life regression techniques. But they're not like 3 to 4 hours, like, QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique. It's not like 3 to 4 hours. It's like an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. So the person can go deeper into the memory, the deep subconsciousness, event, past life, whatever it is. It's not centered just on one type of an experience. It could be anything that they have from their past, current memories, events, experiences again. So they could go and sample them and have a look at them and retrieve them, write it down, so they remember, and then go back in and explore more and more as they're ready and comfortable and feel good about it. but not everything that resurfaces is pleasant. Sometimes it's very traumatic and painful, and then you have to actually start the healing process. So this is what I learned. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is not comfortable what I got, but this is what it is. Go work with it, go heal it. So I started talking about it. I actually said what the experience was. That's going to be in another video, and I wrote about it. So it's like release, emotional release, my way, what's acceptable to me at my own comfort level. So when people go in these things, you have to understand that anything can happen, anything can come up to work on. Sometimes we don't even know what will happen in hypnosis. You pre-plan it with the questions, right? The client knows what they're going to be reviewing. I know, you know, but you know what, stuff comes out or up that we didn't even expect during hypnosis, but we need to
Exactly.
work with it.
Yes. Yes, I
Whatever
think
it is.
the less expectations the practitioner has and the client has, the better. That the expectation is that whatever needs to surface will surface for you to work with that is here in this given moment.
Mm-hmm. I honestly did not expect what came up for me because I was just trialing the course. I had some questions about Atlantis, and I have never done a hypnosis session about Atlantis, not on myself. Nobody has done one for me, and I have never done a self hypnosis session about Atlantis. I remember a lot of things about that lifetime, but the more darker aspects, that was, I didn't I was blocking it out. I was not ready back then to explore it. But in this course, it was the time to like heal that and say, this is what was, this is what I know happened and why. It's okay. I don't blame myself for that. And I don't blame anybody else for it. I think it's an interesting part of history that happened for a reason. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Atlantis is a very complicated place. So, and there's so many intricacies and complexities to it. But again, it's like, wow, a 1 hour technique session that's pre-recorded was able to pull that for me from my own creation. And like, wow, I did not expect any of that, nor was I prepared for it. But I was like, very interesting. And then I've had people ask me to trial the course because they're curious. And some people, I said, sure, why not? I am open-minded to trying things. And so I let them. And I said, but I do want to know what you extracted from that course. You will need to let me know because I'm going to put it out publicly. Whatever the results are, I don't
Mm-hmm.
change anything. Whatever you guys got in your memories, you cannot hold it back. It has to be freely given as a public review.
Yes.
That's the agreement of the trial. It has to be honest, open, integrity, share what memories you got.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, good or bad, does not matter. As
Right.
long as it's honestly saying, this is what I experienced when I was doing this course. Because for me, honesty and integrity are the most important thing right now. Speaking the truth,
Huge.
sharing the
Huge.
truth, living the truth. If we don't have this at this time, it's hard. So I speak from integrity and honesty as much as I can, and I guess I'm here to teach others to do similar things like that. So this course is kind of like, wow, you get to explore whatever you want, but you need to be honest about the results. Doesn't matter whether it's good or bad results. You just have to share honestly because this is the review process. And I openly share the review with others. I don't hold back anything. I do not redact anything from people's experiences. If they volunteered to do this with me, I share openly and honestly whatever their results and outcomes were, whether the course worked for them or not, or halfway in, or totally, completely great. I will share that. That's my responsibility as the facilitator. So this is interesting for me.
Awesome. It's awesome you could create that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I mean, and this goes back to past life regression and hypnosis. People tell me, a lot of people are not available to do that for us right now because they're all busy, they're all working, and they're like, how am I going to get access to exploring my own life when nobody is available to work with
Mhm.
me? Not that they don't want to, everybody's just busy, doing work. This is so popular. Everybody wants a hypnosis regression or a past life regression. So, and people have told me this is just their observations. You're constantly not available to do this as a practitioner. So, can you create something where you are available even when you're not available to us? And I said, okay, sure, I can try because I'm doing this work. So if I self-record these courses, try it on my own, try it with a few folks, make sure it works the way it's supposed to, and it does, put it out there, just be brave and put it out there and hope for the best. And people have said, yeah, it works, no worries. You did a good job, it works. It's exactly what we need, and now we can work on our memories and learn how to do it. And it's like hypnosis in your own home, self-hypnosis and past life regression. Sometimes we need to create the tools to empower them to work with the tools even when we're not available. We are the tool and we create the tools to work with, sort of like remotely, but the
Yes.
tools are needed. So I tried my best, and it's the biggest thing I've ever done. It's a big course. Took me 7 months to do. So, and then another 7 months to figure out where to put it and how to release it and how to work with it. How to make it easy for people to download the instructions. Even the downloading instructions were convoluted.
Oh, goodness.
Because there's like 16 videos in 4 file folders with
Mhm.
video content and PDF stuff. I'm like, there's a special way of even organizing that. That took another couple of months to figure out, how will this work? How can people understand what to view, where to go, how to download? And I'm like, let the angels help me. And the angels organized it. So now people can get this stuff, work with it, have access to whatever they want in their past, their memories. It's out there, it's available. And I mean, if you need something like that, the tools are out there. We're out there. We're doing our best.
Yes. I will come up with something like that at some point, but for me, technology is not in the forefront for me right now, and I would need IT assistance. So I just do my best to keep it, like the sign says behind me, as simple as possible. But the whole goal is to help to be the best instructor, mentor that I can be to, you know, empower others to take it on themselves to be the strongest and the most powerful they can be, just as you
Yeah.
were saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of my stuff is that my schedule is, I already know in advance, a year ahead, what my schedule is and what I'm doing. So part of that, because of that schedule, is sort of people were asking me and telling me what they needed, what my clients needed. If I'm not there, then please create something where I'm still there. I'm present, the voice, the video, the audio. And it's like having me in your own little computer. You can carry me with you wherever you go, and you can do the work that you need, but it still needs to feel live, warm, and caring and loving. So I had to figure out, how do I do this where I'm like literally present, the same as I am present here with you chatting? Like, how do I do this in a kind, loving, compassionate manner where I don't sound like a teacher just teaching, where I'm an approachable human being, yet I still focus on teaching the best way I can and design something that's totally unique and different, that's according to what I've been taught by my elders and what I've learned, and incorporate the new with the older generation teachings and the younger generation teachings, and just create something that's newly blended and can work for almost anyone. And it is, and they do need to put in the work, be willing to work with the course material to get the results that they want. So I'm always doing the hard work. So important. People ask, what is doing the hard work? exploring your soul, exploring your inner self, learning, teaching, guiding. That's the inner work. That's the hard work. So actually working with yourself and working with others for what you want as an outcome, whatever that is. I think you and I do a lot of that work, past life regression. And can we talk about the soul mission stuff? Because that's also part of the hypnosis and the day-to-day life, right?
Yes, I think many come in and they're taught their programmed mission, right? I need to go to school, I need to graduate here, I need to go to college, I need to become this. And 9 times out of 10, they never become quite that, or they don't like it once they do. But we have an obligation to put spiritual work first, and the rest of the work is secondary. And we've been taught to do the opposite. So, in order to find out what our missions are, because we have many and many paths to be on, people like to say, what's my purpose? Well, your purpose is to find out those things and then find out the multi-purposes behind those. And so when we get into the past life, I think, and what I have found through my own personal experiences as well as clients, is once we kind of windshield wiper through a lot of all of that, then we're getting into what I want to call the God source sparkles in there that need to be brought forth and explored. And in those spaces, I find the ego drops away. And then we're able to play in the wizardry, magical world of so many different possibilities. And the IQ of the magical world is completely different than what we're taught the IQ of our academic world. And then we have IQs in many different departments. And people can find that much easier once they get into dissolving and resolving and releasing their storage units,
Mm-hmm.
and finding their mini treasures and getting the cobwebs off of there. Like I said, sifting and sorting and moving things out of the way to find that gemstone. And there's multiple gemstones in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this course humbled me to do as well. Because I asked, what's my important soul mission right now? I asked that, and I was listening to myself recording the portal technique. And you know what I was getting an answer psychically as? You are bringing back the energy of Atlantis, the history of it, what happened. You're bringing back the true history. That is for now your soul mission, one part of your soul mission. And I was in that deep subconscious state, viewing those memories of Atlantis. And at the same time, I asked about my soul mission because I do multiple things at the same time. And that's what the answer, my higher self said, that's what the answer is. Bring back the energy of Atlantis, energetically and historically. Bring both up and deal with your trauma of Atlantis, forgive and release.
Mm-hmm.
So the course, I would say the course made me look at my self-reflection in the mirror and what I still need to do and what I'm doing. So, and I was surprised by this result. I was really shocked by this result. What can come from pre-recorded material, course material? I had no idea. I was just creating something I've never tried before. Honestly, I was taught those techniques and stuff, but I made them different. So it's like you're doing something you've never done before, where you're recording a course and you're doing the same thing of participating in your own creation, right? I don't even know how to describe putting it in words, like every step that happened, but it's like, wow, I was surprised what came out of that for myself. Because again, I've never created something like this. It was like I've done the work in private sessions, but I've never created a course material to do it like that from self-recordings. But it works the same way as if you're in the private session. There's no difference for me. Honestly, when I've tried self-hypnosis with other people's voices, there's meditations even. Not much of that works for me. So I had recorded my own protocols for long deep hypnosis before. That worked on me. And so I transferred that to this course, but in a very different way, specifically for memory retrieval. And it works the same. I'm surprised. Again, I did not expect this. And I'm like, wow, I can use this for myself and it works. So it's not that I don't have the confidence. It's just I never tried this before. So it was new and exciting and fun for me.
Mhm. You're getting out of your comfort zone. And this way you'll touch the masses on all different levels because it's for beginner, a little bit, some a little bit more advanced. It's for everyone of all ages and all levels, which is awesome. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. And I want to empower people to do the work for themselves, to be able to learn how it works, and perhaps even they'll go on to be hypnosis practitioners, past life regression practitioners, teachers of this. You never know what will inspire you to create your own stuff that came from something else, that gave you inspiration, an idea, a tool set to work with that really inspires you to create something for yourself and go on and do it yourself for others as well. So my hope is that this course allows people to create similar things and to expand on their own work.
Sure.
Because again, inspiration can come from anything and everything when you least expect it. It's like the miracles of life and growth and expansion. Mm-hmm. So that's what this course taught me. To expand, grow, and go with the flow of what I'm trying, because nothing is wrong in what I'm trying to do. Not at all. It's just an exploration of growing as a teacher and also as a learner in the same state at the same time, both a teacher and a learner. It was really humbling for me to be the teacher and the learner at the same time. I'm not used to that. So for me, it's like, wow, be even more humble, be even more engaged with the content and with people, and just listen.
Yeah.
Listen to what comes in, even from your own creation, because it has bits of pearls of wisdom and those lovely soul sparks.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And in terms of healing symbols, how do you work with that?
Well, healing symbols have been around for long before they ever got put into these little square boxes called Reiki and energy work and so on and so forth. It's how we got our math systems and our letter systems and putting our vocals together. It's all, light, sound, language, God source energy. So, most people start with the basic Reiki, Dr. Sui Reiki. And if you're really into the energetics, you're going to go on to many, many, many others. I did Reiki, Sikkim and Sikkim first, actually, which is ancient Egyptian. And then the Dr. Sui, which was, 1, 2, and 3. And then you call yourself a master. And of course, masters do not call themselves masters because, at least in my opinion, I don't like titles. And I'm so busy continuing to learn that I'm still mastering the art of learning. But yeah, so I mean, I do shamanic Reiki, fire Reiki, fire flame Reiki, multitudes of different ones. And really it's about symbols that were created that are encoded with just powerful language and information. Some are for healing, some are for activation, some are for this or for that. And so I just use those, with the clients. I use them. Sometimes one just flies across the room at me in this bright neon. I was walking with someone last week, and this gorgeous, like, U with a purple and pink through it just came flying out of the sky at me. And this person was not into the healing world. So I kept trying to listen, and I'm like, I couldn't even say, do you see that? Because I know that they wouldn't. But so the symbols like that, then I draw them out and then I ask, what is the information behind that, And then when I'm working with clients, lots of times their own symbols will come up, and it can come up through them. It can come up through their guide system, and I can make a note of it. And then I can ask Is this a symbol you'd like for me to turn around and place into them and activate so they're aware of it? So that's pretty much what symbols are in a nutshell.
And have you ever heard of Rashiba Reiki?
I have not.
So it's the Reiki connecting to the Egyptian energies and bringing
Okay.
back the healing. They have their own symbols. Very beautiful. I'm starting to learn it. But what I also stumbled on is Dragon Reiki and the dragon symbols. And
I would love that.
well, I could send to you the Rashiba manual and the dragon manual, and I'm finding that the Rashiba manual is missing the dragon symbols and the dragon healing. Rashiba is really also goes back to Australia. It was created in Australia by a man and a woman, and it's 87 pages manual. It's an interesting concept, and I like Rashiba Reiki, and I am learning more things from it to divinely expand the Osai Reiki that I had learned as well.
Yes.
The 3-4 levels, the master. I don't call myself a master practitioner. I just call myself a Reiki practitioner, and I
don't even use that. I try
No.
not to use it. I use energy and
energy healer.
put
Yeah,
in whatever
same.
box you want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, energy healing seems to be an acceptable box. People trust that more than the Reiki healing
Yeah.
box. Most people don't even know what Reiki is, honestly. And that's fine. It's energy healing. It's all energy healing. You can put whatever label you want on it, but at the end of the day, it's a healing modality. Moving energy, healing energy, sensing where blockages are, clearing that, healing that. But what you and I do is beyond Reiki now. It's different.
Yes.
It's much more evolved and intuitive. And different Reiki modalities have their symbols. Like the Rashiba has symbols that I've never seen before. And when I was searching to download the Rashiba manual, because it's so rare to find, I stumbled on the Dragon Reiki that somebody else was teaching. And you know what it activated in me? To write a book about dragons. Yeah.
Nice.
And to add those dragon symbols into the book.
Yes.
I don't teach how to activate with the dragon symbols. I just say these are the dragon symbols, and it shows you what the meanings is. You would have to take the Dragon Reiki to actually know how to implement the dragon symbols in a more advanced form. But even people intuitively, when they see these symbols and read the description, they might know what to do with them.
Sure.
I don't believe in holding back information about symbols. I did not include the dragon initiations because I can't in the book. You would have to take the Dragon Reiki to do the initiations.
Sure.
But the symbols I did include, because these are the symbols that call in the dragons. So it activated, honestly, reading the Dragon Reiki was more interesting than reading the Rashiba manual.
Nice.
Because it just activated dragon healing and connecting with Calais, my metal dragon again. And he said, you know what, you need to write this book because dragons are not talked about. So write this book and do the research, talk about your own experience and do the research into dragonology.
What a great word.
Dragonology.
Dragonology.
I mean, there's dragon
I
magic.
love it.
Yeah, there's dragon magic, which I learned that when I was learning Wicca magic, but I can't include the dragon magic because that has all the rituals and everything. So that's kind of advanced. And Calais is like, no, you're not teaching dragon magic. You're teaching dragonology. Everything about dragons, where they come from, what colors, what lands they're from, what realms, how to connect with your dragon, how to go on a dragon journey. Space dragons as well, not just the other types of dragons, but there's also space dragons and reptilians that look like dragons but are not. So he was asking me to tell the difference, but focus on the dragons themselves and the different types of magic dragons have. So he's like, you're not teaching dragon magic, you're teaching us what dragons are and who they are and where they're from. So I'm
Mm.
like, oh, thank you. I'm not ready to write a book about dragon magic. Although I talk about magic and dragons in general, but I'm not teaching magic, dragon magic. Uh,
Dragonology.
yeah. I was like,
Just some information about dragons and some history about dragons. That's what it is. And you
exactly.
can't really throw out rituals and things like that to a person who's not familiar, because they may do it and their intention may not be in the right place, and it can create anything that you do havoc. But what you want to do is, these things are sacred. You want to fortify them because your energy is placed in them. I don't just grab a symbol and go, oh, hey, now let's just draw this on you, or let's place this on you. No, it has to call to me. I have to fortify it with my own energies and what it's called for. I've had symbols come up before, and I'll look at them and they're almost teaching me a lesson, like, are you going to use me or not? And I might go, I'm not. And it'll just disappear. Or
Mhm.
I'll have the intention of using one, and then I think it's going to go one place, but it might go another. So, you're collaborating with these energies. They're a tool for you to use, and you have to use it in a sacred way. I have people now that are just getting into healing. They're like, can you heal me like right now? Can you tune into this? Can you do that? And sometimes I can, but after a while you get to the point, it doesn't work like that. I'm right in the middle of doing this and I can't just stop and tune into that. You know what I mean?
Oh yes,
But
I had something that happened where twice. Can I share with you if you're
sure.
so I had a person who I think they're Russian a little bit and German who contacted me. They watched some channeling video that I had done with somebody else a few months back, and they said they were being attacked. But literally they felt attacked by something that connected to that video or through that video. I'm not quite sure, but they were physically feeling pain, joints, something. And they said to me, can you do a long distance energy healing on me, remote healing? Uh, I was working with clients and I was also filming that day some interview stuff. And I sent them a prayer. I sent them a prayer and I recorded a prayer as well,
Mhm.
a 9-minute prayer that I modified with more protection and more healing. And this was the best that I can do for them. They're still writing me emails. It's like, I'm still in pain. I'm still, can you do something about this? And it makes me feel as if I'm responsible for whatever came through that video. I'm not, because
Sure.
I didn't put anything in that video, neither was the person who I interviewed. So I think I'm not responsible for healing the person.
No.
All I can do is send them some healing tools and
Hmm.
hope for the best that the tools help to heal them. But
Yes.
I'm not going to be doing a long distance energy healing for that person when I'm working with 3 other people at the same time throughout the day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't. So, and there was another instance where I had just done an interview and afterwards sent the person the clips from the interview, the preview and the interview, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked, I'm feeling panicked, you cannot post what was just recorded. And they kept calling me and texting me while I was in a client session with somebody else, and I said, please calm down, I'm in a session with somebody else, I'm not going to post what you asked me not to post. I won't post it, calm down, relax. I could not talk to them at the same time as I'm doing my client session. I wish I could, but sometimes we're in the middle of something when somebody else is being attacked, having a panic attack or anxiety. So we have to say, I'm not going to do what you're asking me to. I'm not going to, what you asked me, I won't do, I promise. I give you my Solomon word, I won't do it. Please calm down. And you honestly have to say, I'm in a session with a client right now. I cannot call you back right now. I cannot email you back. You reply like that, still being humane and compassionate, yet making the other person understand that you're doing something too that's important. That's being caring and sharing and compassionate, right?
Well, when you're with a client, you give that client your undivided attention.
Mm-hmm.
And you want all your clients to know that when you're with them, you're giving them their undivided attention, that you're not scattered in 3 different directions or answering the phone or sending texts out while you're in this, because most of our clients were going into trance modes, or
Yeah.
we just have to be focused in that energetic zone, and there's a sacredness to that. But we because we respect that, I don't want to give somebody half a piece of me when they
Yeah.
really could use all of me, but someone's got me in front of them and they need all of me at that time. So I
Mm-hmm.
have a code of ethics about that too. I don't know, nobody, like, yeah. But I'm just talking in general. There's healers out there that'll just walk right by you and it's like, oh, I just healed like 5 or 6 different people. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, you're in that I'm the master mode, it's all me. When you
Yeah.
evolve, you realize you're the conduit and you're facilitating, and the
Yeah.
healing is way beyond that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my phone is on vibrate. It was set during a healing session. It was set on vibrate, but it kept buzzing and buzzing and buzzing. Like usually I don't hear the vibration, but this was like, I need help. I'm in pain. I'm suffering. And they kept calling and calling and calling 7 different times and then texting and texting in panic. So I said to my client, I'm sorry, I have a bit of an, like we were in a break
Mhm,
between discussing something. And I said, just give me 1 second. I have a bit of an emergency. I need to turn off my
mhm,
phone. I said
mhm,
that. And I sent a text to the other person,
mhm,
what we were discussing, because I don't want that person to be in panic mode. That never feels good. When somebody's being attacked and they're panicking and
mhm,
they're worried of like, is she gonna post this? Is she doing it
mhm,
already? Like, I promise you, I'm gonna do what you're asking me to. I'm not gonna post what you asked me not to. That was just a preview clip. That's just what I sent to you so you can have a look at it. I haven't posted anything. I promise
mhm,
I'm not going to do it. And I give you my Solomon word, but I am with a client right now, so I cannot talk to you on the phone. And then I shut off the phone.
mhm,
Because again, it's like they were trying to get to me through the phone, through the computer, and it was popping up everywhere. And I cannot turn off my computer stuff when I'm doing sessions in Zoom. It's like I leave the email open just in case if I need to communicate with a client before a session starts for whatever reason. So I was seeing the text popping up. It's like
mhm,
that's why I answered my phone text.
mhm. Okay.
Because again, I don't like people suffering. I don't like to leave people hanging when they're in distress, when they're
Sure.
going through their emotional stuff. So better to say to the client, 1 second, I need to please turn off my phone. I have an emergency. At least when you're open and you tell the client what's going on, they're appreciative of that as well, correct?
Mhm, mhm,
Sometimes that happens. So it's just not something you expected. But again, for me, I have a hard time saying no and leaving somebody in pain and distress. That's just me. So it's the only time this has ever happened like this. And on the same day, these two things happened. So I sent the other
mhm,
person a prayer, and I posted publicly a prayer on my channel. Um, and it seems like people are being attacked inadvertently,
mhm,
and they're receiving something from something else that was not intentioned that way.
mhm, mhm,
Like my video was not meant to attack anybody. The interview I had just finished, it had nothing to do with being attacked or being victimized or panicked or having an anxiety issue. It's just something that was being discussed that was too personal to be included in the interview. And the other person did not realize this. So it's like, and I knew psychically, don't put that in the interview. That does not belong there. So I cut it out.
mhm,
So, but I sent them the item as a clip just for them. I wasn't planning to post that. I knew
Right.
at the back of my mind it was not appropriate. It's not for public to view that because it was
Hmm.
personal, but it triggered the person and they were attacked and
Right.
panicked. So if somebody asks me not to put something out that was recorded in an interview, I won't put it out. I will delete it from the interview because I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable.
Sure. Well,
I'm
I want to make a point about you sending the person the prayer, the 9-minute prayer.
Mhm.
And prayer is a symbol. Prayer is a symbol. It is infused. You infuse it even more and send it to someone. We already know about the power of prayer. We know about the power of healing herbs that are infused. We know about the power of all kinds of things. I mean, all religions have all different symbols, whether they mean something that's super important or not, doesn't matter. It's your intention with the symbol. And so I wanted to clarify that because some people will think, symbols, man, that's the devil's work. And it's like, it's the same thing when you infuse a prayer and you're giving it love, or you're infusing flowers with love when you're giving it to someone, or making them a dish, or whatever you're doing, you're infusing. These are all symbols of love. These are all symbols of activation. These are all symbols of of what you designate them to be, and more importantly, how the person receives them. Because energetically, it could be that you're giving them a symbol, and energetically, something is saying, I'm not ready for that. I'm not, whoa, hold that one over there. So you can't take it and go, oh, no, you don't. And, you know, because that's not what we do. We put it out, and whatever the person filters and receives is what is needed in that moment for their highest good, which is what? Harmony and balance within the divinity, right?
Mhm.
So prayer is so important. So I'm glad that you were able to send that person that.
Well, and it took me about 10 minutes to find that prayer because I had sent it 2 years later to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a Word document. So it's like, I saved it to my own computer again. And then Source Creator, and I had sent it to the person. And then Source Creator said, this is not enough. You've had 2 people who contacted you twice within a matter of hours saying they're being attacked by something or someone, they're in pain and they're panicking, anxiety. This is not enough. What you did to send that prayer to somebody else was good, but why not just record in a nice voice audio the prayer and even make it better and more healing and more protective and shielding? So Source Creator even added more to that original prayer. And I recorded that, and it's available to anybody on my channel. Anybody can listen to it. You can download it, save it for yourself, because Source Creator said this needs to be available for everybody, not just the person you sent it to. So Source Creator said, try a little bit more, do a little bit more, because this is what's needed from you right now. And I did
Right.
it. I listened and
Right.
I did it. And now whoever needs help healing, it's there for anybody. If you resonate with it, it's there for you.
Well, the other thing too that I think it's really important to say here too is when you put together the prayer and Source Creator was telling you what they were telling you, and you were sending it to this one person, right? You think you're sending it to this one person, but you're really sending it to all those who are on that cord of that initial, whatever that suffering might be at the moment. And this one happened to be saying attacked. So it was to all of those on that cord. It's not just directly to that one person. And now you've made it so that other people can download it. And that's awesome that you
Mm-hmm.
can do that.
Yeah,
So,
because
because
again,
we are all one. We're
yes,
all one. We're all in this oneness of the isness.
yeah, exactly. And it's like Source Creator messages. Do you ever work with the angels?
You know, I always call my light beings their angels, galactics, their teachers, their mentors, their ancestors. So I used to name everybody out to the point where I had a hoarse voice. It's like, okay, I think they all know who I'm including in this. So I call them just my light beings, just the light beings, because you're a light being, I'm a light being, but they're the light beings that are maybe not in my 3D realm, although I do see a lot of my guides and the animals and so on. So I can't say that I actually specifically work with angels or different galactics. I work with all of them as a unit.
Yeah, because people are asking me, can you define what the angels are? Can you define what the extraterrestrials are, what my higher self is, what my spirit guides are, who my protector teams are? People want to know what the names are of the beings and who the beings are. So I'm always saying, okay, your protector team is this archangel or that archangel, your spirit guide is da 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 da, your higher self is named this. So people are actually wanting me in the sessions to teach them what all the different beings are, and I'm happy to if there's time during the session. But again, they're all light beings, like you said.
Yeah, they won't. My guides have been very clear for a very long time, and as much as I bang my head against the wall and scream and yell occasionally at them, I'm on a need to know basis. They will not overload me with too much to give somebody else or even to myself. And they don't get caught up in names and groups and all of that. They just don't. They won't do it. So
yeah, mine love to give clarity, who they are, what their name is, what species they are,
awesome.
What angel it is, what history. It's like they want me to give so much clarity to the client of who they are and what they do, because the client is asking for that.
Sure.
So it's like if the person asked for it, then they'll get that information. If they didn't, I don't go into too much detail unless I feel it's super important. Then I'll ask them, is this for your highest good? Do you want to hear this information that's coming through in more clarity and specificity? And the person usually says, yes, of course, it's going to help me. But I always ask, if I'm getting a lot, I will always ask the person I'm working with, do you want to hear about this? Because your team is passing on this info and it's very detailed. Do you want to hear it? And if the person gives permission, I'll pass it on. If not, I just sort of put that into another informational compartment that's just coming in as a message.
Sure.
Because there's always stuff coming in, symbols, messages, information, anything that I do. We're connected to that higher universal knowledge, energy, beings, and stuff comes in, and I'm like, sometimes you need to put it into that compartment to have a look at it later.
Sure.
Because it might be necessary to who you're working with, or it might be something else related to them. But again, how do you interpret those messages?
Yeah, and most of my messages are very visual, very pictures, very videoed. And I have to kind of decipher it. I do get the clear knowing. I'll get messages when I'm with somebody and I'll say blah, blah, blah. And then it'll hit a chord and then we'll go from there. Or it could be a picture of something and I'm saying, I'm seeing this, and then I'm describing it and then put words to it. And then we go together with that. But I don't get that inner ear hearing yet. I've been told for years it's coming. I keep got my hearing aids up.
Yeah, I get both of what you like.
I know you do.
I get both, so I have to sort of tune in and make sure what's the most important thing to cover, what not so much, and kind of put it in its little compartment and go on with the session. Because as I'm telling the person the messages and describing the visuals, the video, the audio, you have to sort of be present in the moment of what's coming in. And the other stuff coming in, audio, video, clairvoyance, claircognizance, like if it's not fitting in correctly, just put it aside for now. Might be something for a different session. Who knows? Messages Messages could be coming in multiples, but focus in on what's most important at the moment, at the time, with the person you're with.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can cope with it.
Yeah, you've got a lot of avenues and a lot of pathways to get information. We all have them. We just may have some that are better than others, or that we've designed as we came in, and some have all of them, like you. And right now I'm like, hello, I'm listening. Could you be more clear with me, please? I get a little feisty. I do, and they know it. And I just have to laugh. Okay, fine. Don't tell me like I think I'm supposed to hear it. And then I have to decipher it. And that's mostly within myself. I have the conundrum of I need more information. So I have to call a friend and go, hey, okay, this is what I'm getting. What are you getting? And it's like, yeah, that's what I got, but you're just saying it different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and oftentimes the beings that I interact with are so mysterious that like they'll give me a hint or a clue and they'll tell me you're supposed to figure it out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm supposed to figure it out, but give me a clue what the meaning is of what you just told me to do or to understand. And I say, give me part of the little puzzle box clue. Give me a hint to get me started on the right path of what you're meaning or symbolizing or showing me. So where I say I need more clarification to do this or to understand this, you need to give me more clarification. And they give some clarification, but they still say you need to figure it out on your own. I'm like, well, thank you for the clue and the clarification. At least I have a starting point to go off of and work with. And a little bit of a foundation. You can't just leave us 3D humans without like say something to us or show us and expect us to understand what the higher significance is. We're still 3D human working with higher dimensional energy here, working with upstairs and downstairs, balancing both of that, as above, so below, and in the middle. You know, like give us a clue, give us a hint, give us something to work with so that we can build on the understanding and piece it all together and discern it and figure it out for ourselves what the meaning is. But some of these beings are so mysterious. They think if they talk in clues and riddles and puzzle pieces that we'll know automatically what that means. I'm like, no, I don't. This is the way you talk and show me, but that's not how I talk and I show. Give more clarity, give more meaning, understanding. What is this?
Yeah, you learn ways to communicate to based on where they're from. I mean, I get a lot of visitors. It's just they come in orbs and you're just looking at me and they have nothing to say. And so, I mean, it's rather a comedy show in my room most of the time because they could be all around. I could be watching a show on my television, and then I'll look up and I'll go, well, hey everybody, what's up? Well, unless you're going to talk to me and you have something to say, I'm going to go back to watching this. Which I do. I've woken up in the middle of the night with one eye open and had like, I think the funniest face I ever saw was he looked like an Eskimo, but his lips were blowing in the wind. And he was like right here. And I opened my eye like this and I'm like, oh, that's lovely. And then I just went, okay. And I closed my eyes and I'm like, he hasn't come back. But a lot of them are just kind of coming around and the energetics, and most people can feel the energetics. They might not see it. And then they get like, something's here, something's here, I'm freaked out. And then they'll light candles and do sage. And these beings are all here to interact with us. And once you can see them or sense them in some way, you just acknowledge, because they're not here to harm you. Most of them are not here to harm you. So if you can take the fear out of the way and say, okay, who is this? I sense you. And then they'll learn to come back and continue to communicate with you.
Well, maybe not when we're sleeping in the middle of the night. We might
I have had to put my boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, you can hang out all you want, but you may not keep me awake because I have sleep issues anyway.
Yeah, I see the same. Sometimes I have someone I know, worked with the beings before. They pop in at 3 a.m., 1 a.m., 12 p.m. when I'm about to go to bed. And they're like, da 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 da, I have a mission for you. I would love to chat with you about this, this, and this. This is galactically going on. And they start showing me, I'm like, wait a minute. Do you realize that I'm on human time and I'm on planet Earth? You may not have the concept of time because you're outside of a planetary time frame and time moves differently for you. Time does exist. It is fluid. When you're on a planet with a gravitational field, time on a planetary scale is different than space-time.
Mm-hmm.
One flows quicker, one flows slower. When you're just in space, existing in space, not on a specific planet. So it's like, I'm on a different time than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Some pockets of space don't have time. The frequency doesn't have time, but a lot of places do have time in space.
Yeah.
Despite what everybody says that there's really no time, there is time. Just flows differently in different planets and different space pockets and whatnot. And I say to the being, look, we're not on the same time scale. So come back tomorrow when it's 12 p.m. noon, not 12 p.m. midnight. And I show them a picture and they're like, oh, got it. Yes, no problem. I'll check my chronometer because they all have these chronometer widget gadgets, their own different or internally built-in chronometer, just
Mm-hmm.
energetically as a being where they can tell time or where there's no time. And they're like, I'll check my chronometer, thank you. And we're good to go. And I always say, your time is not my time exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
unless I am in the mood to really hear something before my bedtime, sometimes I am, and I can be indulgent and hear and listen if it's something important. But most times I'm like, this is my time to relax, to sleep, to do my own thing. Come back tomorrow during the day, during open
Mm-hmm.
business hours. And I say during open business hours, and they're like, we don't have anything like that. But humans do. It's called the time scale, a time
Yeah.
set.
I always let my guides know I've gotten enough practice with them now that I can say, hey, give me an hour and I'm going to give you my undivided attention. And then there's times where I'll say in the morning, I go, okay, I'm feeling something coming in. I need to finish A, B, and C. Then I'm going to go to the park and I'm going to be there for you. And then even before I go to the park, I'm like, I'm on my way. I'm basically like telling them I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'll have my pen and paper, undivided attention. And then I'll get there and then kerplunk, I'm down in getting into that theta like
Yeah.
almost instantly. And I'm like, okay, then they'll show me what it is they were telling me. And sometimes it's not even what I would think that important. And then I'm like, you guys just wanted to show me that? Okay, fine.
And some of the ATs jokingly ask me, well, what are your business hours? When are you open
Yeah,
for contact
exactly.
communication? I just jokingly say business hours is human time, not like
Yeah.
business hours when I'm here to take something from you and da da da. No, I mean it jokingly, like come back during normal Earth hours of operation
Mhm,
during the
mhm.
day. And they ask me, what are your business hours? And
That's
I'm like,
funny.
and I say, this is when I can connect, communicate, please let's arrange the time. And they're like, cool, I like your business hours.
Yeah,
So they,
create a docking station where they have to get in line up there.
and some do. Some days it's so
Exactly.
busy. Like you need a docking
Next,
station.
next.
Yeah.
Bye.
We all have that. Earth is
Yeah.
busy. So
Yes. Yes, it
um
is.
their concept of time and hours may be very different, or no time at all for some. It depends where you are and what region of the universe or universes. It's
Well, just
amazing.
think that they're on this galactic vacation kind of thing. But I don't mean it like they have nothing to do, but when you're on vacation and you're really just vegging, you don't even remember what day it is, what time it is. You don't need to eat at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. You're eating different foods. You're just having fun and exploring and sightseeing. And that's what a lot of them are doing with our time frame because they're working with us on our missions and our paths and our goals as well. So we have to make the time for that spiritual world because the 3D world really honestly needs to be almost secondary and put the spiritual world first. And then your jobs you'll find are more rewarding, where you live, the choices that you make, all those things. At least that's how I have found it switching all around since 2017 and living really in the spiritual realm and keeping what I was taught was this 3D got to do 10 and 2
Mm.
secondary.
Yeah, 10 and 2 9 and 5, that doesn't work in my world. I
Well, I'm
have,
in 10 and 2, like your steering wheel,
yeah,
driving,
yeah, yeah,
getting yourself everywhere you
yeah.
got to go.
Well, mine is 12 to 7, 12 and
Okay.
7. That's my sweet spot for anything and everything as it's supposed to happen and vibrate and whatever.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
anything before that or after that, come back tomorrow.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
The world is not going to go away in 1 second. We're still going to be here. We're beautiful. We're living. We're exploring. We're creatively expanding as beings. We're evolving. We
Hmm.
are evolving. I remember you wanted to discuss a little bit of the kids and the work you do with the kids.
Well, with the kids, if we think about the brain waves, you've they're when they're born, they're in delta till they're 2, and then they're in theta unless trauma happens until almost 7. So they're in these learning, wonderful, not remembering yesterday because there isn't a lot in my storage unit I need to put in there. And so they just come out with some of the most interesting memories that they share, at least with me. And they're also, I mean, I look at most of them as my teachers because they're just sharing so much and giving them safe space to then incorporate all of that into their 3D world that they're thrown into. Because, as soon as a child is born, it's thrown into the mother's schedule and, it's got to do, got to do. And, when you're supposed to go to preschool and all these things that you're programmed, and children are taken away from their imagination state way too young, and put into the responsibility state, and they're not really capable of doing that, and then they get burnt out later, and then all these memories of these beautiful elementals and planets that they go to and places that they travel when they're sleeping or even when they're daydreaming at school are forgotten. We can't have that. And that goes for our pets too, our guardians, our pets, doing the loving energy work. I've had a lot of calls lately on 2 things. One is to work with people's pets, and 2, to work with late high school, early college students. And, where things have changed a little bit. So we just got to really just bring ourselves back to where were we and before all this other chaotic stuff occurred in our lives about how our parents had to get us to 18, get us to 24, get us out of the house, launch us. What was happening before that we were forgetting? And that's all part of past life regression and hypnosis and energy and healing work and all the things that we do.
Well, and in some cultures, kids live with their parents into their 30s and 40s, so it's not all the same thing.
They're trying to do that here. Damn it. They're saying failure to launch. It's like, okie dokie.
I respect every culture and its interesting idiosyncrasies, let's put it that way. And some of my clients say, well, my kids still live with me and they're 30, 40. I'm like, whatever works for you works for you.
No
If it's
judgment.
mutually beneficial and works for your kid and works for you to live like that, and they're like, should my kid be more independent and outside the home looking for a place of their own? I'm like, it really depends on you and your kid. It doesn't matter what the age of the kid is, 30, 40, 50. If they live with their parents, it's for a reason. I say it's really up to you. You have that open conversation with your kid.
Well,
Discuss.
when you're saying that, I'm thinking of us living to like 100, 200, 300, 400 years. Kids would be living with us when they're 30.
Yes, exactly. But the clients are like, is it for the highest good of my kid at 30 to live with me? I'm like, well, look at the reasons why your kid is still living with you. Is it beneficial to you? Is it part of something that's happening with your life that the kid is helping you with, or you're balancing and helping them with something? Look at why you're still together at this time. Is there a specific reason, or is there a specific purpose for that kind of a arrangement? I say look at the deeper arrangement. Why are you together when your kid is still 30 and you're in your 60s? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the dynamic going on here? Sometimes it's just the kids need help with something happened in life, they need a place to land, a safe space, it's temporary. Sometimes the kids are caregivers of their parents and they're helping them with something important. They're actually a caregiver of the parent, helping the parent. It's their
Yeah,
job. That's why
we are
they're
not here to
living with them.
judge, right?
No, no, not at all. And I have this question pop up a lot recently. I'm like, look at the why, look at the dynamic and the interaction. If it's working both for you mutually beneficially, continue on because that's what you guys need at this time. If not, then assess it.
Yeah, because
Um,
we don't know what contracts they came in with.
yeah,
We
I
don't,
don't.
nobody, we don't know what contract somebody came in with that
Mhm.
maybe they're supposed to be together for whatever reason, you know?
Yeah,
And like you said, you put it back on them. Well, you ask yourself the why. Why is this? And then they begin to soul search so that they're more comfortable with, oh, well, this is why this is the way it is. Or, I need to reevaluate this.
yeah. And I personally don't believe that when your kids are 18, they have to be out the door from the
I agree.
house.
I agree.
That is such a stupid, typical stereotypical programming issue
Yes.
in this
Again,
world.
pre-programming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pre-programming or heavy duty programming on top of the programming layers.
Yes.
And anybody's like, if somebody comes to me who's strict with their kids, like by the time they're 18, they have to be working and out of the house and not be this and that. I'm like, please leave that at the door. That is not how I think. That is not what I believe. And if you expect me to tell you to mirror that back, what your belief is and what you should be telling your kids, I will never do that. I respect free will choice. Whatever your dynamic with your child, whatever age they leave the house for whatever reason or go get a job, is when they're ready, they'll do it. And every person is different and circumstances are different. I don't pigeonhole there is a specific age where when your kid has to work or leave the house or get their own place or have super duper responsibility, each to their own at their own time and evolutionary growth scale for kids and adults alike.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. We push our kids way out of the imagination and play stage way before they're fully developed. They're not, they need to develop that. That needs to have much more time with
Mhm.
that. That's why I admire a lot of people that do the homeschooling programs. They spend a little more time with the exploring of that and then some. So anyway, that's a whole other topic. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you'd like to share? Because I know we're running into time.
I'm good. You wanted to mention something about energy and DC a little bit?
Oh yeah, well here in DC, I was born and raised here, and as much as I keep trying to get out of this demographics, Spirit keeps saying a little longer, a little longer. And if a crow was to fly above my roof and go around in a 1 to a 5 mile radius, it literally would fly over NIH, Walter Reed, Thesda Naval, Andrews Air Force Base, NASA, NSA, everything around the White House and all those buildings, Langley, the Pentagon, etc. There's just a lot of what's happening right here in this core that is affected everywhere on this globe. And so, when I started doing healing work here in the 90s, I had people say to me, "You're going to have to move to California. I don't think it's going to get accepted here." You know what I mean? Didn't stop me because I knew I'm here because I'm filtering and grounding the energy. But there's a lot of people that are all over the world holding energy in the towns and the ships and the way lines of where they live. And so I was just going to say that it gets very staticky here. So I go through times where I'm like, la, 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 like, and then back up again and soaring. And lately it's been about at least once a month. It's like 1 or 2 days where I'm just like, I just can't, well, I can, but it takes me a little bit of time of indulging R&R and different foods and maybe getting out in nature and not having so many clients and taking a break. But we have this all over. You have it where you live. We have it in all these main towns. We have it. I mean, if you don't know where all the ley lines are, it doesn't really matter. Just know that if you are where you are and stuff is going on or not going on that you're aware of, that you're literally a filtering conduit for the core of Mother Earth and what's going on in the sky. And you're creating this universal realm around you to help support others around you, because it's not just our physical presence and our words echoing out. It's the work that we do, talking about the prayer. You're infusing the prayer, you're sending this prayer to one person, but you're really sending the prayer to threads, 360 and around you. So yeah, DC has been a little interesting lately. I think a little more hyped up just on just stuff that's happening, and my energetic body and my physical body is sure feeling it. That's all I want to say.
Well, California has its
Oh
ups and
yeah,
downs too. I mean,
yes.
honestly, I don't consider where I live as globally to move elsewhere if something's not quite right with where I am. As long as I like my house, my land, the surroundings, the neighborhood, the neighbors, if things are peaceful in my immediate surrounding area, I don't feel the need to just go up and move just because something in my town or in my area is not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this: find your inner peace and wisdom within
Oh yeah.
yourself. People ask me, why don't you do healings in person? Because I'm everywhere and nowhere. I am a universal presence.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah.
You
I
can
don't,
energetically go anywhere. You don't have to do things in person.
yeah. Well, I love to do things one-on-one so I could see the person, but sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
do long distance. I don't physically have to go to somebody, or somebody physically has to always come to me to facilitate healing. Healing goes where energy flows. It will always flow where it needs to go. The
Yes.
prayer is a universal
Mm-hmm.
energy that's going out to everybody who needs it or wants it, connects to it. Same with me. I go everywhere where I need to go. I have soul missions where I might be doing soul work on the other side of the planet or on other planets. To me, you don't need a physical place to do the work that you need to do. You're everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah.
You're an infinite soul exploring creation, expression, possibilities, and having your experiences, whatever that is.
Oh, I agree, but I have missed my hands-on work. So I literally teamed up with a nurse practitioner and opened up, here in Bethesda, DC, a physical location where we can do some medical aesthetics, my energy work, and then I'm going to do some group teachings in the conference room. But I missed that. I missed the physical location of working with people. So now I can have both.
Good.
And so that's good for me at the moment.
Yeah,
But
and I have my office space where I do all my spiritual work and my healing work and my research. People ask me, how can you do everything in an office with electronics, with computers,
sure you can.
with lights, with cameras, with microphones? I'm like, because I ground the space that I'm in. I don't
Mhm.
worry about the computers affecting me. I don't worry about the stuff I have in my room. Everything in my office space is energetically, vibrationally tuned in with my equipment so it doesn't make me sick. I only use equipment that's vibrationally attuned properly to my body field. I don't
Mhm.
use anything that causes me a signal distortion
Mhm.
because the signal from that equipment is horrible. If I buy something that is electronically creating a signal that's wrong with my body system, I return it and exchange it for a different product that will have a nice frequency that's well balanced. So everything in my office is well tuned to my highest good, environmental safety and happiness and well-being. There's nothing here that is causing me pain or angst or anything. And I don't do healing sessions out of a bedroom. I don't. I'm in an office space that is
Sure.
all my own, that is safe specifically for this type of stuff
Right.
and for
And
even
when you close the
meditating.
door, you leave it there. And then
Yeah,
now because we have to rejuvenate our own lives for all the work that we do.
yeah.
Yes.
And
That's excellent.
sometimes I don't even close the door. My door is always open door policy.
Mhm.
Because I'm in a space where my office can be open with the door and the
Mhm.
windows. I don't even worry about the energy seeping out and going into the wrong place. Everything here is energetically protected to not cause dissonance, to not cause pain, to not cause disruption, panic, or anything. It is vibrant. I found my safe space. But my office is not my bedroom, but my office can be my meditation space. This is just well grounded.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
created for that, not just my work, but for my soul expression and soul happiness. You can make a space anything you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Any space, even if it has the most yucky energy to begin with, you can clear that, you can sage it, you can put intention to make it a sanctuary. It is what you make with it and what you do with it. How you harmonize and ground and heal it. That's the other thing. People keep asking me, how can I utilize a space to make it healing, creative, beautiful, but I don't have enough space for too many things. Think about what it is you're focusing on creating, the purpose and why. And then if you don't need a huge office to be creative and supportive and successful, just need to know what to put in your space, to organize it for the function and the purpose you're creating it for. Fill it with love, happiness, light.
Yes.
And it'll return that back to you threefold.
Oh, yes.
And can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's a little personal.
Okay.
Are you happy with your home in DC?
Where I am at the moment, I'm okay with it. But I don't think I will have another home here outside of here. I think I'm on that end of the contract. But yes.
Is this home your own or do you rent?
Rent.
Okay, then that's an easy one. When you're ready, you will go somewhere else when the timing is right. So when people say, should I let go of my home? Should I keep my home? What to do if something, is out of alignment energetically or physically? And I ask, are you happy in your home? Is this a home that you personally purchased and it's outright, taken care of? And do you like living in the space? And people often say to me, I love my home. I just don't like the frequency of my neighborhood anymore. And I'm not sure whether to stay or go. And I say, well, what can you do about the frequency? Can you clear the neighborhood frequency? Can you lighten it up? Can you make it better? What's your, how are you with your neighbors? Very good. Like what's your relationships like with the people around you?
Yeah.
And like, great, for the most part, fantastic. It's just that heavy duty energy that's causing me to feel stuck, and clear the energy so you don't feel stuck in the neighborhood. Because you still love your home. You don't want to be selling it and moving, but you're considering because it's the neighborhood frequency that's out of alignment. I mean, overall, if the whole state, like the whole place in DC is not working for you anymore, then maybe it is time to move. But if you're happy with some aspects or most of them, sometimes you don't need to move. It's something shifting the vibration of just where you are.
Well, it's been shifting the vibration since 2011. Well, actually 2007. And so I sold homes and went to several different locations, and then later got divorced. And then I have gone, literally, Spirit asked me to get rid of everything and only have small amounts with myself because my contract was coming to an end. But I didn't realize it was going to be a couple more years, and I'm still here, which I'm okay with because everything around me has been harmonized and it's fine. I have absolutely no qualms. But I just know that my contract in this DC, Maryland, Virginia tri-area is just about over, and I'll know where to go. So Spirit will show me that when the time is right.
Well, having a look at your deepest soul desires and where do you want to go? Personally, just you, without even Spirit saying, where do you want to go?
And I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, think about the answer because it's going to be important.
Thank you. You're obviously getting a hit on something.
Well, I was getting Hawaii, but that's...
never been.
Go for a visit first before
Thank you.
relocating
Yes,
to
of course.
Hawaii.
Of course.
It's all about
I'll
the
have to call
visit
my buddy
first.
Daniel Scranton who lives over there.
Hmm. Well, I'm just getting that you'll be going for a visit over there.
Thank you.
That will be your little time out for a visit to see if you like. Um, Not sure if Colorado, the other ones are Colorado and Florida.
Well, I'll probably only do west coast of Florida. I'm not a big Floridian type person, but I do like some of the spots in the west coast. Um, yeah. So we'll see.
Colorado is kind of like third on the list I'm getting.
Yeah, I've never been.
Could be a place to visit. It's
Yes.
interesting. Uh, Although you could call my buddy Brad Olson. He just got a nice place in Nevada, what he's going to
Okay.
creatively do things with. It's just a
Nice.
plot of land with a nice workshop right now, but he has big plans.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, I want to interview him about how he got that property and what he plans to do with it because I'm into land sustainability and growing your own food. Those things
Hmm.
interest me so much. So I want to know more about how can you do that and get accessibility to it so others can do it. So this seems to be a topic that I want to explore. Is that something you're interested in?
Well, the funny thing is, I just did a house clearing yesterday with a shaman friend and an intuitive friend. We went to lunch afterwards and we were talking about a garden spot. And the other girl had found one. And in talking, I was like, I haven't really ever really gardened. I've weeded a lot because my mom used to plant. And I said, but I'm interested in helping as long as there's an electric scooter going up each side, back and down the rows. I'll plant those seeds. I was being a prima donna, but I'm willing to get on my hands and my knees and get my fingernails dirty. That's no big deal at all. I love. My mom was one of 16 raised on a farm, so I
Yeah.
love farm stuff. I really do. So yes, I am interested in that.
Yeah, and me too. Personally, the only thing I grow really is plums and black currants and strawberries. That's what I have room for in my garden, and a lot of different green plants and oh goodies. I have raccoons, I have fur childrens and cats who
Nice.
come. I have
Yeah.
about 40 raccoons who come every night and 3 cats. So they were happily in my heathers and trampling my heathers. And I'm seeing these poor heathers dying because the cats pee on them, the
Yes, they
raccoons sleep
do.
on them.
Yeah. And
So,
we actually talked about what we would do about the animals, and I said, well, we could hopefully intuitively meditate and leave a corner for the local animals, and then they can't touch this farm.
oh, I did one better.
Or
I
I'm going to
got,
tell them to go eat my friend's plant, not my plant. That's what I would do. I'm just
oh,
kidding.
no, why, well, depends. I got non-obtrusive metal rust resistant fence, two
Oh,
fences,
nice.
because my gardens are in islands. And my dad also got a lot of paving stones and stuff. So we put paving stones and we put the fences around those areas where the cats and the raccoons are not supposed to trample on the heathers. And now the heathers are fine and the raccoons are frolicking in the grass and enjoying themselves. And the cats are just like respecting the fenced areas and just kind of going around it. So the wildlife is fine and the plants are thriving. Like these heathers are lushly green. They're
Nice.
not dry anymore because the cats are not piddling under the plants and the raccoons are not sleeping on top of the plants. There's a way to balance nature with the critters and what's going on in your yard or in your land. There's
Yes.
a way to balance it. For me, it was low-key fencing, just fencing and
Mm-hmm.
pavers. And that's it. It was so simplistic. I thought it was like I was dealing with this for 2 years with thinking, what am I going to do with this wildlife that is
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable, but it's kind of creating imbalances with my plants because I love my greenery, nature, food, gardens. I love gardens. For me, I respect nature since like, how am I going to get this balanced? So the critters are happy and I'm happy and my plants are safe and protected. Great, just fencing, simplistic fencing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I also have squirrels and crows coming for the kibbles every day, which is fine. And they don't dig up anything. So it's fantastic. The fence just make sure they jump over, go over to somebody else's house and not dawdle too long.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds
Yes.
them there's a bit of a boundary here. Don't sleep here too long. You gotta go.
Yes. Energetic boundaries. Yes, I
Yes.
got it.
Works well. So I'm like a kid because I've been on the Andromedan biosphere ships and the biodomes, and they have gardens. They grow their own food. They have parks on spaceships.
Mm,
You don't even know the difference that you're not on a planet, that you're on a huge arc ship or a
mm-hmm.
biosphere ship. They can simulate sustainable, living, growing green spaces and environments. If they can do it, we can do it. That's just the recent experience.
That's awesome. You said
Yeah.
something about a raccoon. I had a spirit raccoon move a tomato off of my windowsill, and it was on the upper windowsill. There was 4 tomatoes, and it moved one 6.5 feet over hardwood floor and a carpet. So it didn't fall and it didn't roll. It was moved in perfect position, and I almost stepped on it. And when I picked it up, I did a meditation and I saw a raccoon and it had moved it. So the next day I did a ceremony and I ate the tomato in
Nice.
ceremony of the raccoon.
Well, I
So
have,
energetically, it was telling me something. I haven't quite gotten the answers to this yet, but it was impossible for it to have fallen 5 feet without smashing because it would have smashed on my printer, and it didn't roll from a hardwood floor onto carpet and then turn the corner.
well, these animals are very smart. They often communicate to me. Um, so it's the night, 10 p.m. Can't really see what's outside the door. I have glass doors, and then I have one of the raccoons come by and he's like, "Can you give me some cashews? Can you feed me cashews?" "Sure, coming right up." And I take a box of unsalted cashews, open the door. "Here you go, guys. Feeding time." And there's 5 raccoons waiting for cashews outside the door.
I would never have thought of cashews for raccoons.
Okay, raccoons love grapes and cashews and dog cat kibbles.
Oh, okay.
This is what
Did not
these
know this.
this is what these guys grazed on for the last 4 years and keep grazing on it. The crows will eat the kibble too, and the squirrels will eat the kibble too. The squirrels actually don't want the peanuts. They want the primo mucho kibbles that
Mm,
have that
picky little
protein
suckers.
and vitamins. No
Yeah,
cheap stuff for the raccoons.
I'm hearing you.
We treat them as fur children. And my cat, recently I took my cat to hold her, and she's like saying to me psychically, "So, will you feed me in gratuity now that you've cuddled me?" And I'm like, "How do you know the word gratuity?" And she's like, "That's a word for fair exchange. You cuddle me and you feed me. Fair exchange." I'm
That's
like,
hilarious.
"Oh, you naughty girl."
That's hilarious.
She's like, "You need to feed me in gratuity."
That's what I say if you get to pet me. You gotta feed me in gratuity.
Well, that's what she said psychically, and it was loud
Uh,
and clear in English. "Hey, you're cuddling me, you're holding me a little extra time, right? With your cuddles there, you need to feed me in gratuity. Otherwise, cuddle time is over, missy."
yeah, yeah, I like your cat.
Oh, she's smart. She's it's like, that one is
Oh,
like, "Hey, gotta add that food into my dish bowl. Gotta feed me in gratuity for your extra cuddles." Because I was not letting her go. I was just doing a bit of extra cuddling because she's so
mhm.
fluffy. She's a Maine Coon tuxedo. So you always kind of want to hold that child and pet and cuddle. And she's like, "Well, if you have extra time with me, gratuity and food in exchange for my services."
It's hilarious. I like your cat, I'm telling you. Well,
Well,
this has been fun.
for me
Thank
as well.
you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, this has been
Awesome.
very nice.
Yeah, I like it too. And thank you so much for exploring all these wonderful topics with me.
Absolutely. And I'll see you on our next video together.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.